And then let's build a couple of buildings. So we'll bring, you can see here all the, it's what the ingredients are, what needed. Usually carbon, fiber, plastic, chemicals, or iron. And I have all the supply ready, so the people can actually create all that, so you can keep building the city. There are people with different jobs. There is the worker, there is the biologist, and engineer. Engineers build stuff, biologists grow stuff, and then workers usually process stuff, which is or manufacture simple stuff, and engineers can manufacture complex stuff, like complicated parts. And so then the Atmos miner will mine the gases, and the solar panel generates the electricity, but this two system is not ready yet. So we have infinite energy and infinite gases at the moment. But after that we have to process the gases, and then you can either have carbon, chemicals, or minerals. You see how quick it goes when we are filtering out carbons, but if I do chemicals, then it's a lot slower, and metals would be even slower than that. Let's just build some interior structures. I will do 2 carbon makers to make carbon fibers, which is most of the buildings require, and also plastic is a very common material. Now the plastic itself, I can't just make it out of thin air. I need a grow pod, and grow pods are growing food, also starch. And then another thing, we can go into the atmosphere. You see, we are entered to the cloud layer because we are 44 kilometers deep. We built a lot of things, but we need to balance that out. And then by changing the balloon, filling it up with gas, buoyancy gas, then it goes up. You can see there is a buoyancy value here, which I can be lighter. You can see it in other buildings, like the domes gives you a little buoyancy, but other structures are actually heavy, and then that gives you negative buoyancy. And then also you see we have 2.5 atmosphere pressure. This is Earth atmosphere pressure in this level. We are out of the habitable zone at the moment, and also 124 Celsius up. You can go even under the cloud layer. Of course, late game maybe you can go very close to the surface and mine it, but that would be deadly at the moment. Okay, so this one is nicely producing carbon, and then be creating carbon fibers. And then also we have some starch produced and the plastic made. And also this button's not working yet, but power will be turning it off a building, unpower it, or a interior structure, or a full building, and then demolish the button, which will give back all the resources what was used as construction. Domes at the moment don't have doors, but I will have some kind of airlocks. And now we are flying into the night side of the planet. How the winds are taking us around the planet. There are continuous winds which keep going around of the planet. And now we are on the night side, among giant clouds. We started the construction of the biggest building, the landing pad. This is the full SpaceX style landing pad, which will catch the spaceship. And finally here. And that means we have a bunch of new colonists. Who is right away? Well, most of them, except the lazy ones, are off to work. Bridge in the game will be allow scanning the area and also access the planet view, and then unlocks all the engines, and then when you have the engines, then also navigating around the planet. And then let me show you. So I try to make it, the whole thing is very organic, so you not open up a map, but you just scroll out, and then the first level you get the city level, where you get all kind of information about the city. At the moment, only these statistics work, but later on I will have separate for balance, power, or structural integrity. Let me show you something. So how I had to balance out all the different weights, because different buildings weigh differently and they different distance from the center of the geometrical center. So what the player need to do is technically how they change the different balloons, or later on the vertical engines, like drones have those motors. Then the balance is changing of the all, and if it goes very high out, that can be dangerous because we can damage the platform. Okay, so how is that works is when we have a 7 tile limit. 6, 7, yes, we are 8 tiles this way, which means it start to get some structural stress in the middle. This 7 is not a hard limit. It is a soft limit. It means you need to build up a lot more of structural damage. Oh, our bridge is done. And imbalance can cause extra on the structural. So if I go out and I have a one, you can see how is it growing, the imbalance causing more structural stress on it, and if it's reached a certain level, then it would damage the city, which can even collapse and burn. So for example, the one other two things what can affect if we dive deeper in the atmosphere and there is very high atmospheric pressure or very high temperature, that increases structural stress on the whole city. So if you are imbalanced, dive deep, then very easily the city can collapse. Now I will inflate this balloon to the maximum, and I will try to turn off all other ones, causing as big. Yeah, I think it's happening. Yes, we start to get structural damage on some of the platforms.